Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at yourself and thought, when did I become this person? Maybe you walk past a mirror and suddenly notice your parents looking back at you. You think, so this is what happens. One day you're 25, then somehow you're 67, and you still feel like you should be able to get up from the sofa without making that little sound. And that sound is becoming part of the process. You sit down. Oof. You stand up. Nobody teaches us that after a certain age, standing up can become a full sound effect. But here is the beautiful thing. Getting older does not mean life is getting smaller. In fact, for many people, life becomes better when they finally stop fighting themselves. Carl Jung believed that as we grow older, we are called to become more whole. Not to become perfect, not to become younger, not to impress everybody, but to finally become more honest about who we are. And maybe that is one of the biggest secrets to staying happy and young after 65. You don't need to pretend you are 25. You don't need to compete with people half your age, and you definitely do not need to wear clothes that make you feel like you need a meeting with yourself before leaving the house. You can grow older and still be attractive, still be funny, still be curious, still fall in love, still dance in your kitchen, still make new friends, still start something new. But there are a few truths you may need to accept about yourself first, and I think this is where many people get stuck, because sometimes we want happiness, but we are still holding on to a version of ourselves that no longer exists. So today, let's talk like two human beings sitting together and having a real conversation. No big grammar, no boring classroom talk. Just 6 truths about yourself that can help you feel happier, lighter, and yes, younger inside. And please, as we go through them, tell me in the comments which truth hit you the hardest. Let's start with number 1. 1. You cannot be everyone's cup of tea. This one can take a lifetime to accept, especially if you spent years trying to be the good person for everybody. You helped people, you showed up, you kept quiet to keep peace. You said yes when your heart was screaming, please say no. And after retirement, something interesting can happen. You finally have more time to think, and then you begin to notice something. Some people only loved the version of you that was always available, the version that answered every call, the version that solved every problem. The version that never complained, the version that gave and gave and gave, but now you are tired. And suddenly, when you say no, some people look at you like you have changed. Well, maybe you have, and maybe that is not a bad thing. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Think about that. What if growing older is not about losing yourself? What if it is finally about meeting yourself? The truth is, not everybody will understand you. Not everybody will like your choices. Some people may think you are too quiet. Others may think you talk too much. If you stay home, somebody says you have changed. If you go out and enjoy yourself, somebody says, "At your age?" Yes, at your age. You are alive. You are allowed to enjoy your own life. One of the funniest things about human beings is that people can have plenty happening in their own lives, but somehow they still have enough energy to manage yours too. So accept this truth. You cannot make everybody happy without eventually making yourself unhappy. And honestly, after 65, peace is too expensive to keep giving away for free. You don't need to explain every decision. You don't need to win every argument. Sometimes the most peaceful answer is simply, okay. Not because they are right, but because you are tired and your tea is getting cold. That is wisdom too. 2. Your body has changed. And that does not mean you have lost yourself. This truth can be emotional, because many of us still remember our younger bodies very clearly. You remember running without thinking about your knees, Sleeping in any position without waking up feeling like you fought somebody during the night. Eating something at 10 p.m. and waking up perfectly fine. Now you eat one small thing late at night and your body sends you a message. Excuse me, what exactly are we doing here? Yes, things change. Your body changes. Your energy changes. Your face changes. Your hair may decide to leave the building without even giving you notice. That part is not always easy. But here is what can make aging feel much heavier than it needs to be. When you keep comparing your body today with your body 30 years ago, of course they are different. You have lived 30 more years. This body has carried you through joy, stress, heartbreak, work, family, sleepless nights, celebrations, and things you never thought you would survive. Your body is not your enemy. It has been with you through everything. So instead of asking, why can't I do what I did at 30? Try asking, what does my body need from me now? Maybe it needs more rest, maybe more walking, maybe better food, maybe stretching, maybe less stress, maybe a little sunshine. Maybe it needs you to stop sitting all day watching videos about how young everybody else looks. And please, let us be honest. Some of those people online are using filters so strong that even their own grandchildren may not recognize them. So be kind to yourself. You can still care about your appearance. You can dress well. Take care of your skin. Move your body. Wear that beautiful outfit. Put on your favorite perfume. You are not too old to look good, but don't make looking younger your full-time job. The goal is not to look 25. The goal is to feel alive at 65, 70, 75, 80, and beyond. That is a much more beautiful goal. 3. Some things you wanted may never happen, and life can still be good now. This one is deep, because by the time we get older, most of us have a few dreams sitting quietly inside us, things we thought would happen by now. Maybe you thought you would have more money, maybe a different career, maybe a happier marriage, maybe children or grandchildren living closer. Maybe you thought retirement would feel more exciting. Maybe you thought by this age you would finally have everything figured out. Then life happened, and sometimes life does not follow the plan we made at 25. You know that plan. The one where everything was supposed to be perfect by a certain age. Life looked at that plan and said, very interesting, anyway, and went its own direction. That can hurt. But here is a truth that can set you free. Your life does not have to look like your old dream to still be a beautiful life. Maybe one door never opened, but another door did. Maybe you lost something, but maybe you also discovered something. Maybe retirement is quieter than you expected, but perhaps this is the first time in years you have had a chance to ask yourself, what do I actually enjoy? Not what my boss enjoys, not what my children need, not what everybody expects. What do I enjoy? Maybe you start gardening, maybe dancing, maybe painting, maybe walking every morning. Maybe learning something you always wanted to learn. Maybe you find joy in something as simple as sitting outside with a cup of tea and having nowhere to rush. That is not a small life. That can be a beautiful life. Sometimes happiness after 65 is not about getting everything you missed. Sometimes it is about noticing what you still have and saying, you know what? I'm still here. Let me enjoy this part too. 4. You have some habits and patterns that need to change. Now don't go anywhere. I know this one is not as comfortable, because nobody enjoys looking at themselves and saying, maybe I am part of the problem sometimes. We prefer to say, my family stresses me. My neighbors are difficult. People these days are impossible. And sometimes, yes, people really can be impossible. But Carl Jung talked deeply about becoming conscious of the parts of ourselves we usually avoid seeing. That means sometimes we have to ask, why do I keep getting into the same arguments? Why do I keep holding on to old anger? Why do I take everything personally? Why do I say I want peace but keep feeding my mind with drama every day? Why do I complain about being lonely but refuse every invitation? Why do I want a new life while doing exactly the same things every day? These are not easy questions, but they can change your life, because you cannot change what you refuse to see. Maybe you have been carrying a grudge for 20 years, and let me tell you something. That grudge is probably sitting in your mind paying no rent. It has been there too long. Some people hurt us deeply. That is real. But healing does not always mean saying what happened was okay. Sometimes healing means saying, I will not let this continue to control my happiness. That is powerful. And maybe your habit is not anger. Maybe it is worrying. Maybe you worry about your children, your money, your health, the future, the world, what people think, tomorrow's problem before tomorrow even arrives. After a while, you are sitting peacefully in your home, but your mind is running a marathon. So accept this truth. Some of your unhappiness may come from patterns you have the power to change. And that is actually good news. Because if you have the power to change something, your story is not over. 5. You need people, but you also need to enjoy your own company. This is a big one after retirement. For years your life may have been full. Work, family, school runs, appointments, cooking, cleaning, meetings. Some people even complained that they never had enough quiet. Then retirement comes, and suddenly there is a lot of quiet. At first, it can feel wonderful. No alarm, no rushing, no boss asking for something when you are already doing 5 other things. But after a while, the silence can become heavy. This is why connection matters. Call someone. Visit someone. Join a group. Go for a walk where people are. Take a class. Volunteer. Find a hobby that brings you around other human beings, because happiness is not always found alone inside the house. But here is the other side. You also need to become comfortable with yourself, because if you cannot enjoy your own company, you may end up accepting people who disturb your peace simply because you are afraid of being alone. And no, being surrounded by people is not always the same as feeling connected. Some of the loneliest moments can happen in a crowded room, so learn to enjoy your own company. Take yourself out. Make your home a place you enjoy being. Play music. Cook something nice for yourself. Wear something you love even if nobody is coming over. Why not? Do you need an audience to enjoy your own life? Sometimes the best company you can have is sitting quietly and realizing, I actually like the person I have become. Now that is a beautiful place to reach. 6. You are running out of time. So stop wasting the life you still have now. This is the truth many people do not want to hear, but it may be the most important. As we get older, time feels different. When you are young, you think you have forever. You can waste a year and say, I'll start next year. You can stay in the wrong situation and say, maybe someday things will change. You can keep postponing joy. One day I'll travel. One day I'll dance. One day I'll write that book. One day I'll wear that outfit. One day I'll call that person. One day I'll start living. But after 65, you begin to understand something. One day is not a day of the week. It is a decision. And yes, time is moving. But here is the beautiful part. You are still here. You woke up today. You still have this day. Maybe not 30 years. Maybe not even 10 years. None of us knows. But you have today. And today is not too small. Today you can walk. Today you can forgive yourself. Today you can call someone. Today you can try something new. Today you can stop carrying an argument from 1997 like it is a family heirloom. Today you can enjoy your coffee without rushing. Today you can tell someone you love them. Today you can look in the mirror and stop saying, "I'm too old," and say, "I'm still here. What can I do with the life I have now?" That question can make you feel younger than any expensive cream, because youth is not only in the skin. Sometimes youth is in curiosity, in excitement, in trying, in caring, in waking up and still believing life can surprise you. And that is why accepting these 6 truths can actually make you happier. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you stop fighting reality, you stop pretending, you stop comparing, you stop waiting for everybody to approve of you, you stop living like your best days are automatically behind you. Carl Jung's ideas remind us that growing older can also mean growing deeper. You may not be becoming younger, but you can become freer, wiser, calmer, fun in a different way, more yourself, and maybe that is the real secret. So let me ask you before we finish, which of these 6 truths do you need to accept right now? Is it that you cannot please everyone, that your body has changed, that life did not go exactly as planned, that you need to change some old habits, that you need better connection, or that time is too precious to keep postponing your happiness? Drop your number in the comments and tell me why. I really want this comment section to feel like a place where people can say, "Yes, I understand. I'm going through that too." And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe and let's build this channel together. Because growing older should not mean sitting quietly and believing life is over. No, there is still life to enjoy, still things to learn, still people to meet, still mornings to be grateful for. And yes, there may be a few more sounds when getting up from the sofa, but that's okay. We move anyway. And that, right there, is the spirit. See you in the next video.